What drives Pierre Poilievre? Why is he so passionate about this job of leading the Conservative Party and potentially leading Canada? What makes him even choose to contest again after losing his own seat? Why does he fight so hard? Well, folks, Pierre Poilievre told a story in his recent interview with Northern Perspective that really brought the tears to my eyes. It will bring tears to your eyes too, if it were true. Listen to what he says here.
When you think of all of the stories that Canadians have told you, they have tears in their eyes. They just they look to you for what's next. Do you have an interaction that stands out to you the most?
One of the most powerful was one of our rallies during the leadership race, and there was a lady who came up to me, and she looked like someone who'd had a really tough life. You know, she looked like she'd been through a lot. You know, you can tell, and her clothes were old, and she looked very tired. Despite that she wasn't that old, she looked really worn down. But she was very enthusiastic and happy to meet me. And then afterwards, she went up to the membership desk, and she said, "I wonder if somebody can lend me $8." And they said, "What for?" And she said, "Well, I'd like to buy a membership to vote in the leadership race. I only have 7, and it's $15. And they said to her, "Well, you don't need to pay by cash. You can pay by credit card." She said, "I don't have a credit card." And they said, "Well, how about debit? We could. There's a debit machine. We can downstairs in this arena, and you could go withdraw some cash." She said, "I don't have a bank account." And they said, "Well, could you drive home and get the money? Because we're not allowed to give them out according to the rules." And she said, "I don't have a home." And then they said, "So you have only this $8. She said, "I only own $8. That's all I own. And I want to spend that and then borrow 7 more and buy a membership, because that is the only hope I have right now." And it would really hit me hard when I found out that she was saying that, because this is a woman who didn't know how she was going to eat dinner that night. And she was going to risk the final $8 that she needed to maybe get a sandwich or put gas in her car to buy a membership so that she could support me. And so it reminds me of how many people are out there that are depending on me to do this thing. And those are the people that keep me going and fighting on, even when it's hard, even when I'm tired, even when the odds seem against me. That's what keeps me going. And that's what motivates me.
And maybe this is a good dovetail. Sorry, that really hit me.
That's a nice touch. You even see that the guy from Northern Perspective ate that up and left no crumbs. My guy was almost in tears. Look, not to be cold or anything, but Pierre's story is not adding up. Let's review. There's this woman who looked like she had been through a lot based on what Pierre Poilievre said. She only had $8. She says, "Can you lend me $7 so I can buy a membership so that she can support Pierre Poilievre?" The last $8 she has to maybe get a sandwich or get gas in her car. This woman has no home and no more than $8. The fact that she doesn't have a house means she probably lives in her car at best. See, I think what this woman needs is financial education and access to support, not a membership. But that's just me. Clearly, this woman's hope is misplaced. I honestly do not know why a person who is poor would trust the Conservative Party. I challenge you to give me one core policy that Pierre Poilievre champions that will support this woman through this difficult period. Put it in the comments. The Conservative Party is the party that cuts taxes. Well, guess what? It sounds like this woman may not have a job. So no job probably means you're not paying much in taxes because you're making no money. So those tax cuts do not really benefit you. The Conservative Party is also the party that will cut the services that support you because, balance the budget. The Conservative Party is also the party that wants to privatize everything and let the free market do the work, much to the benefit of corporations. This woman is simply not their target market. What this woman needs is stable housing, food security, mental health support, and a job. So to me, there are a few possibilities here. The cynic in me says that this story is absolutely fake. At best, it is heavily embellished to ensure maximum emotional reactions. Politicians do this all the time when you really think about it. I remember Chrystia Freeland doing something like this during her run for the Liberal leadership. I think it was during the Liberal leadership debate. They asked Chrystia Freeland why she was running, and she said a 4-year-old girl asked her to fight Donald Trump. It was an embarrassing attempt at emotional connection with the people. Pierre Poilievre is clearly a better actor. I gotta give him his credit. Give the man his due. Look, politicians tell these stories because they work. They tug at your heartstrings. They signal grassroots support for what they stand for. It instantly humanizes them in a way many voters find appealing. You see, me, I like my politics with less of the emotional baggage. When you get asked why you're running for prime minister, just be honest and say, I want to be prime minister because I feel I can help people. Maybe don't fully be honest about wanting to enrich yourself in the process. Don't tell them that part. That part doesn't play well with the people. You know what? Just stick to the tried and trusted narrative. The other guy bad. I fix it. Don't make shit up to sound more relatable. Now, I do have a very deep distrust of politicians in general. That's just me. Maybe you guys like the emotional baggage with your politics. And that brings me to something that bugged me even more. Pierre Poilievre said the party can't give memberships for free. Really? Who made this rule? The Liberal Party doesn't have membership fees. The Liberals made a strategic shift in 2016 to eliminate membership fees. This move was part of a broader effort to make the party more open and accessible, especially to younger and less politically engaged Canadians. And you can say it has worked very well for them so far. So why do the Conservatives still charge a $15 per year membership fee? Let me put this in context for you again. According to records filed with Elections Canada, the Conservative Party brought in about $42 million in donations and another $5 million in membership fees in 2024. That brought their total revenues to just over $48.5 million. So essentially, the money the Conservatives made from memberships in 2024 was only 10% of their revenue. I'd be interested to know the generous donors that gave them $42 million. I'm not saying they did anything wrong. I'm just curious. I'm just really curious. What I am saying to you here is that $15 fee is not about the money. They make almost 10 times more from big donors. Clearly, the Conservative Party decided amongst themselves that this fee is necessary. Maybe as some sort of barrier to ensure that the people that join are truly committed to the cause. It is almost like the Liberals understand that it is a game of numbers and they prioritize mass engagement, while the Conservatives have convinced themselves that a barrier to joining the party will ensure quality engagement and commitment. The Conservatives made that choice. Anyways, as I said, I'm kind of a cynic. Sometimes my bullshit radar goes off for no reason. But you let me know in the comments, does Pierre Poilievre's story sound real to you? Because I did not believe a word of it. But if you're the lady from Pierre Poilievre's story, my bad. If you're out there, if you're real, go get your $8 back. You need that in Carney's economy. All this inflation, you need that. You need that. But also, subscribe to the Wolf of Young Street podcast. I'm just a random dude who is questioning your life choices. Maybe we can be friends. I'll see you next time. Take care.